bearing for great fruit. So we'll call the meeting to order at 3:02. And Camarena, you have a review of action items?
All action items were completed, so I don't have anything to report.
Okay. So I was supposed to introduce Abubakar Ahmed, who is the taxi driver representative on the Private Hire Transportation Advisory Committee, whom I have nominated as a member of this subcommittee, who graciously volunteered and accepted and is now not here. So Phil. Oh, actually, oh yeah, I was going to do an overview of the Fees and Fares Subcommittee so that Abubakar could get familiar with what we're attempting to do, or at least some semblance of what we're attempting to do. So I guess I don't need to do that. So we just burned through 30 minutes of our agenda in about a minute and a half.
Beautiful.
Outstanding. I mean, this is how meetings should work for the city, right? Can we report back to Mark that we're being very frugal with our time and efforts?
Do they pay for Zoom by the hour?
Well, I will tell you that Mark did send me a message saying that meeting stuff is subject to budget cuts because our committee was going to go to monthly meetings, and he said that might be on the cutting room floor, but we shall see. I told him to just cut the TNC driver committee, give us our monthlies. Anyway, let's see here. So a couple things that are happening, and I'm sure Phil, you're next on here to update on the survey, but I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I know that's in Mark's hands right now, and he's been working with PBOT staff to start the process to get the survey kind of begun before they bring you in. Have they brought you in yet, or is that kind of where it's sitting?
Yeah, I thought he was having lawyers look at it.
I think that's a combination of what he's doing. So I think there's lawyers and then other individuals at Private for Hire who do this kind of stuff. And I think they're just trying to figure out those sub categories on how to put it into a Survey Monkey type thing. If that's what the system they're using, I don't know.
Okay, no, I haven't heard from anybody.
So is that something? So is there a version 4? I'm looking at the agenda, and it has you on there as update survey, 15 question survey, draft version 4.
I've sort of lost track. I can't keep track of all the emails. I'm so disorganized. So at some point,
both, baby.
What?
You and me both. You and me both.
Yeah, I haven't driven, since October 16th, and I'm probably not going to be driving again for several more months. So, I'm interested. I'd like to help, but I find it hard to even keep track of when these meetings are. It's mind-boggling to me that the invitation doesn't have the date and time on it.
It doesn't?
The email that I had to click on to come to this meeting doesn't say what time it is in the letter. You have to click on an attachment to find out what time the meeting is.
So when I respond to the meeting invite, it just automatically adds it to my calendar. So when I just look at my calendar every morning, so I know what I have, and it has all the information in my Outlook calendar. I don't know if you have Microsoft Outlook or not.
Yeah, so I don't have an electronic calendar. I'm retired. I have nothing going on. I nap all day.
Dan's envying you right now, I think.
Yeah.
Right now, buddy.
I just don't understand why, I mentioned this months ago, why the time and date can't be on the email that goes out that says click here to join the meeting. It starts at 2:00 or 3:00.
I cannot answer that. I just know what I see, and it tells me all that stuff. Outlook.
anyway, no, I check my email every day, and I assume at some point there'll be an email saying, here's the revised survey. And then I'll know what it is that I'm going over.
So Camarina, do you want to shed light on that part of the calendar for us? Was there?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what you're seeing, Phil, on your end, because you have Gmail, is that correct?
Yeah.
Actually, what I was talking about as far as the update survey portion of the agenda,
Oh, sorry.
was that supposed to be something Mark was gonna update us on? Because I think it's all in his court right now.
Oh, you're talking about the insurance, right?
No,
No, the agenda.
this is the survey.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't have anything to report on that. I do remember at the fees and fares subcommittee, or no, I'm sorry, the private for hire meeting, Mark did report that it was going to be a little bit slow on their end to get it going.
This is the email that I get, and you can see that it doesn't have the time or date of the meeting on it.
Is that open?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, how about in the regarding or somewhere?
Phil,
I don't know. It just seems silly to me. Anyway, it's not a big deal. It's such a minor thing.
Phil, on the bottom of that email, is there a couple of attachments like this one?
Yeah, I know, but I don't want, I'm just saying, I don't want to have to click on an attachment to find out what time the meeting is. Put it at the top.
I think it has to do with your email interface, Phil.
Yeah, I think it's.
I have Gmail as well, and what I see when I open the emails is different.
Yeah, it shows me on Outlook the times.
Yeah, the first thing I see is like when, and it gives me the dates and the times and the link and who's invited.
Yep. So it might be a setting on your end, Phil.
Okay, that's true. I regret having brought it up.
No, I will tell you, Phil,
Today's a good day to bring stuff like that up.
I am computer illiterate. I can't get my printer to work. Okay. I've been messing with it all morning. I can't get the dang thing to work. So I'm in your boat when it comes to technology stuff. And sometimes you just need somebody to hold your hand to figure it out. And
the reason that I'm frustrated with the survey is that the version I have has all these edits on it with lines and all the changes that are being made.
is that from Peabody or who's doing the edits? Do you know?
It looks like this. I think these are all the edits that who's like our secretary? Is that Tracy? Right.
So
it has all these edit things on the side, and then certain things are different colors, which are different shades of gray.
So
it's just confusing.
It is. Don't those comment boxes say Chad in them?
What?
Didn't.
Do those comment boxes have Chad's name? I think that might be Chad.
Oh, yeah, it might be Chad.
I think that's Chad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad is formatting and stuff.
Okay.
Anyway,
so I don't think that's got anything to do with Peabody. I think Peabody has taken what you submitted.
Oh yeah.
And they're working with the draft and not what, and maybe it's the final result after those edits. I don't know, but.
No, I haven't gotten the final one with Peabody comments. But I don't know what the most recent number, like version is, or.
Yeah. I think they're taking that final one that we agreed on.
Yeah.
I think there was just one change on that question 15 or something, or an addition.
Yeah.
And they were trying to figure out how to format it so that it could be emailed out and be easy to use. And I think that's where we're at right now. I don't think the version is, I think the version has been settled.
Yeah,
So,
I think so too.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're at.
Sorry.
Right. No, no, that's all right. So why don't we just move on? How about that? Are everybody good with that? So the next couple agenda items have to do with one, the driver, the 75-25 fair transparency. That one was approved by the Private Hire Transportation Advisory Committee to move forward to the next meeting. And I believe that the TNC committee had done that prior. So this meeting coming up on Monday, I believe that's an agenda item. Is that correct, Camarina? That's an action item on Monday for the TNC driver committee?
Let me pull up the agenda for that meeting. It is on the agenda, but let me double check if it's an action item.
And why don't you keep that open for a minute?
Has it been discussed yet at that
No,
meeting?
so
It's
what
been
it
introduced, right?
so the way it works is it's presented as basically a topic submission to the committee, and then the committee says, yeah, we want to talk about that more and have it be in a position where we can vote it on to PBOT, or no, we don't. And it seems to me in both committees both committees have done that to elevate it to an action item to where the committee can discuss it and vote on it and send it advance it further in this process. I think, but Camarina is going to double check on that for the TNC driver committee.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's listed as an action item and they're gonna take public comment.
Okay, so yeah, so in the TNC driver committee on Monday, that's where that proposal has an opportunity to move forward. I did ask Mark, what happens if the TNC driver committee passes it, but the private hire transportation advisory committee doesn't? Well, then that falls into the PBOT director's lap, and he makes the decision just like he would if both committees passed it anyway. So basically what we're saying when we pass this stuff up to him is, hey, the whole industry has looked at this, has discussed it, has voted on it, and sent it to you as what we want to have done. I fully suspect that that's probably going to happen. I'm a little surprised, quite frankly, that the Uber representative didn't say a word in the committee, in the private hire transportation advisory committee about it. I thought they would at least, say this isn't in our best interest, but she didn't, and she was present. I'm not sure if they said anything like that in the TNC driver meeting, but because they went through the process we went through last week in their last meeting, so it will be interesting to see what happens with public comment in the TNC driver meeting. Am I making any sense? Phil, you're looking at me like I'm.
no, I have just a million thoughts going through my head. I don't remember having it discussed at a TNC meeting, but we haven't had one in a couple of months.
It was 2 months ago, and it was brought up and voted on to be expedited or elevated to discussion.
Oh, okay.
Public comment.
So do we have like a special something written up that
It is, I think, just based on the topic submission that I don't even remember who wrote that now. Who did write that? Does it have somebody's presenting name now? I think it's Chad is presenting it, isn't it?
I think it was me.
Yeah, it was you that presented or initially wrote it and
Mhm.
submitted it, but I think Chad's presenting it.
Yeah.
TNC driver committee, is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. So
and we had finished writing it in this committee, in the subcommittee.
okay.
If you
I'm
remember,
just amazed because I mean, this thing getting implemented would be like a fantasy. It'd be like a dream come true. I mean,
well, it's the process, and I'll be the first to say it. The process is moving pretty quick on this one, quite frankly. I mean, it could be in front of city council by March or April.
okay. And then most likely, well, I don't know. I'm not particularly optimistic. Right? Wasn't Mark saying all sorts of things about how the city or the state is not allowed to
Well,
legislate wages or?
so here's how that works. So the state of Oregon has a ORS, an Oregon Revised Statute in place that states that local governments cannot dictate minimum wage requirements or something, wage requirements or something along those lines. But it does not have anything in regards to independent contractors in it. It's all about labor. So what that means is Uber would sue, the lawyers would hash it out and try and figure out if that applies or not. And my position on it is either a group of drivers gets together and goes down this legislative session and changes that rule and gets ahead of it, or you just hope for the best and you push through and you tell city council that we believe that it does not dictate this portion of wage, and the city has the right to do this regardless of that ORS code. But
so how would we do the other thing you mentioned? You said unless some drivers get ahead of this.
yeah, so if there's some drivers who are interested, and maybe that's someplace that you could do some organizing. I mean, I mentioned it before that I would help you guys draft legislation and direct you on the best way to get that to flow through the state house. I think it would be a fairly simple change, an easy one to explain.
I'm willing to help. I don't know if I'm qualified to lead, but is this something? I mean, Chad's not here and Owen's not here.
Yeah, and Owen would probably be the one that I would push in that direction. He's got some advocacy experience, so it's not like he's a green individual when it comes to that. He's testified in the state legislature. He understands the process. Maybe you can reach out to him, Phil, and just say, hey, here's the deal. Darren and I were talking in the subcommittee, and it might be something that will help this move.
I'm willing to do that, but he doesn't really return emails to me.
Man,
He accumulates 6 or 8 of them, and then he apologizes for being too busy.
or maybe reach out to Chad and see if Chad can help you with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Phil, it's more my position and who I represent on this committee that doesn't that won't get me to spearhead that. So
Okay, well, that makes sense. I understand.
that makes sense. But I have no problem helping.
Chad and Owen are great. They have a lot of skills, and experience, and they just don't have availability.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chad said that he might have a little bit more availability after the first of the year. I guess this is his busy season or something. So hopefully that's the case.
Okay. You can put in the minutes maybe that Phil will reach out to Chad and or Owen.
Action item, Camarina. Action item happening right here in front of you. All right. Perfect.
Yeah. And explicitly state the nature of what this legislation will be doing. Right?
Okay. Perfect. So Camarina, with that topic submission, there's another one with the maximum seating requirements that also was presented to Private Hire Transportation Advisory Committee and also is moving forward to an actionable issue at the next Private Hire Transportation Committee. And that one was one that I believe Chad introduced. I think it was one that you and I talked about, Phil, that ended up becoming a little bigger and involving all private for hire transportation in the city to allow drivers to voluntarily either decide to have front seat passengers or not to.
Yeah, to elect.
To elect to allow that or not. And so that one was approved to have further discussion. Is that one also on the agenda for TNC, Camarina?
It is. It's listed as an action item and they'll be taking public comment.
Okay, so that one's right there with the 75-25.
Mhm.
What about the insurance one that Dan submitted, the deductible.
So there is an insurance topic submission, but it's listed under Phil.
No, I think it should be listed under Dan. Dan is primary, right?
Well, I think it was under you because you had an accident. It's punishment for getting hit.
Well, I have
Get
more
from
input on
starting
that, by
trouble.
the way. Just as a very quick aside, I promise it'll be quick. Even though I was found not to be at fault, Uber's insurance is withholding the deductible, the $2,500 deductible on my totaled car. And according to my insurance agent, for my regular auto insurance, they're not supposed to withhold the deductible unless you're at fault.
Of course, if you expect anything less from Uber.
It's Allstate, it's their insurance company, but it still seems wrong. And maybe that can somehow be woven into whatever it is we're presenting. I was originally told that my rider on, RIDER, my rider on my personal coverage, would pick up the difference in deductibles. But that's not happening either. I'm still waiting for my check, by the way. It's been 8 weeks. So
I can tell you that the one that was presented to the Private Hire Transportation Advisory Committee is the one that Dan had submitted to require there not to be a greater than $1,000 deductible. And I believe that is about the extent of that discussion. So when they get to the action item status in a committee, that's when the meat starts being created from public testimony and discussion of the committee, which is where, Phil, you will want to include your experiences and try and guide the rhetoric of what that final is going to be when it gets sent to the director of PBOT. Does that make sense?
yeah, I hope I'm qualified.
Well, really all you got to do is review what's been submitted and present it, and then give your personal experience. I mean, you're probably one of the better ones to talk about it because you do have very fresh personal experience with the process and its flaws and where it should be. Because really right now, a $2,500 deductible, if you are at fault, that's a career killer, especially if your car is totaled. So there's not a lot of drivers that can afford a $2,500 deductible in the state of employment right now, the way it is.
So I agree. Who's going to be is someone at this meeting going to be like, I'll present what I've gone through. Who's really listening and taking notes on that? I mean,
well, that's the full TNC committee, the driver committee. So Owen's the chair and Chad's there, and you've got several other people that are on the committee, and then you have what do they call it? The I don't know, their little expert panel that doesn't have voting rights are going to be there and they'll be able to give input. And I think on Monday, I'm actually planning on being there, although I'm going to be in another meeting at the same time, but they're both electronic, so I'll be able to go back and forth. So if you need help, you can throw it to me. I can do the best I can.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, and Phil, do you need me? Would it be helpful if I send you the topic submission you submitted so you can review it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I see Abubakar has arrived.
Yes,
Abubakar,
welcome.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
There you are. So I was going to introduce you to the committee. However, there's a small contingent of our committee. There's many people that did not make it today, so we've just been going through the agenda. And And I think that what I'll do, because we've reached the end of the agenda already, I think what I'll do, Abubakar, is I'll just reach out to you and kind of give you a rundown on what this committee does and what it's done up to this point, and give you a little history and why this committee exists, if that works for you, outside the committee forum.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, is there anything else from you guys that you want to talk about? All right. Well, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss, right, Camarina?
I think that's everything.
Easiest part of your
Thanks,
Thursday.
Oh, I could mention one more thing.
Okay.
I'm still getting emails from, like updates from Lyft and Uber. And I know recently they had another service agreement update.
Yeah, Chad sent something out to us that highlighted a couple of those, I believe, didn't he?
Well, I don't think I got it from Chad, but just the whole process of them just being able to state, we're now going to start sending you more advertising on your app. It's just annoying, and we have no recourse to any change they ever want to make.
Yeah, it's interesting because he did send something, and one of the things he highlighted was the quote that just says, "Your continued use of Lyft will confirm that you have reviewed and agreed to our updated terms of service and privacy policy." So if you do nothing, they just assume that you have reviewed everything. So there's no box to click.
Yeah, and as bad as that is, it doesn't really matter anyway, because even if you had to click the box, no one is not going to click it. But it just bothers me that they can unilaterally just make these decisions that are not in our best interest.
Well, it's part of using their service, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it gets back to the whole thing about, and I know Mark doesn't want to ever address it, but it has to do with whether they're a monopoly or not.
Yeah.
And if they were a monopoly or a duopoly, then they would be subject to more regulation.
Yeah. Well,
because and part of their argument, and I know I repeat this every couple of meetings, but part of their argument of why we're independent contractors and not employees is because they claim to not be transportation providers. They provide a platform that matches riders with drivers. And if that was the case, then drivers theoretically would have a whole large number of apps to choose from. We could go, like if you wanted to buy, I don't know, some gardening tool, you'd have a choice of dozens of stores you can go to buy your tool. But I don't have dozens of platforms to select from or to negotiate with. So I'm really buying from a duopoly. I can only buy my platform from Uber or Lyft.
yeah.
And
Let me
as
ask
a
you this:
result,
do they advertise to you in the app while you're working, or had they in the past?
that's what this thing says it's going to be. Yeah.
Well, it says it's going to personalize advertisements. I don't understand exactly what it's. It says we've added more detail about the data we collect and why, how we use it, and how we may share it. This includes new Lyft initiatives like providing advertisements personalized to you. The way I read that is it's pushing out advertisements to the customer base, using you as an example, maybe.
I don't know. I just have a feeling like on the map, they're going to start, saying things like make a left at Wendy's, having stores pop up on the actual map, but aside from that, I noticed that like some of the benefits that Uber offers like if you reach certain levels, you're a gold driver, that entitles you to a free beverage at 7-Eleven when you buy a snack. I mean, that's like actually listed as one of the perks that you can earn when you achieve silver, gold, or platinum or diamond status. I mean, that's advertising.
Yeah. It's in the best interest of 7-Eleven. They want to sell hot dogs and
Right, it's
free drink is
advertising. And I
gonna
guess
get you in
Chad
there.
was also aware that they're eventually trying to put advertising screens in the back of Lyft and Uber drivers' cars, right? That's where Chad said, hell no.
Yeah, we're taking ours out.
What's that?
We're taking ours out. Our drivers
Good.
hate them. We all hate them. Everybody hates those things.
So what's going to happen if next month Lyft just updates their terms of service that says all Lyft drivers need to bring in their cars for the installation of a screen that will allow riders to select what music they want to play?
I think at that point they would find out how loyal their driver base is, and they wouldn't have any drivers driving their passengers around real quick. Majority of Lyft drivers would say, you ain't installing nothing in my car. That would be my guess, but
Well, they'll be
really the power
clever.
of the group when it comes to that stuff, right?
I don't know if Chad was here, or especially if Owen was here, he would say, don't forget, a large majority of the drivers are recent immigrants and non-English speakers and blah, blah, right?
Yeah.
And are more easily manipulated.
And these things are designed, this type of messaging that like what Chad sent to us is designed for people not to necessarily read it and just go with the flow. I mean, that's how it's designed. And that's one of the things that people bring up is it's not fair to the average user of the service.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal with Uber. I've been watching them since 2010. This job is a job where the customer is allowed to anonymously rate you. Anonymously. And you have no say whatsoever in that rating. If that customer is having a bad day, a woman and had a fight with her boyfriend, and you're the driver, you could give a 1 star just because she's hating on men, or it could be the other way around. It's not, it is a temporary job, but they hate the drivers. They don't care about the drivers. They're trying every day to get autonomous vehicles on the road. This is a temporary, short-term job. The people that are doing it long-term are the people that aren't qualified for anything else. And you're going up against,
who would rather not be retired.
or would rather not be retired. Correct. Want to get away from
There's a good
whatever's going on in the
clarification,
house,
Phil.
right? Or want to get away from whatever's going on in the house. I got in an Uber one time and the guy says, I'm only doing this for golf money and to get away from my wife. And so I'm telling you, Phil, if you want, I will help you, walk you through the process for you to start your own business, to do what I do. And then you call all the shots and keep all the money.
Okay.
Okay. If you need that help, I'll give it to you. You can do what I do. Then nobody rides in the front seat. You only have $75 trips or greater. You pick your days on and off. I can walk you through the process, Phil. Working for Uber is not, or Lyft is not a way to go. And you ask my friend Guy, somebody said he did something in a car and Uber took him off the platform, and only because he knew people at Uber was he able to get back on 90 days later. Everything's anonymous with them, and they own the football. It's their game. And when you sign up, it's under their terms of service. And, a lot of this stuff that we're trying to get put together is probably not going to happen, but at least we're making an effort at it. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, if you think you're going to change the spots on this leopard, probably not, because they are in tight with the city. So many people that work for the city now work for Lyft. Ask Darren. City attorneys and stuff now work for them. They left they poach all those people and they know exactly how to get in and out of city hall, state government, and federal government. So, you know, a lot of this is futile. All we're doing is aggravating them. But, you know, it's kind of fun to poke the bear every once in a while.
I
So,
agree.
you know, when you get tired of it, Phil, get my number from Darren or call me and I'll walk you through the process. It's not very hard.
I'll take you up on that at some point.
All right. I'll show you
There you
how
go.
to do everything, how to advertise, how to get legal with the city, how to get legal with the airport, how to advertise on Yelp, how to advertise on Google, how to get a website, the whole works, Phil. When you're ready, you just let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Now you know why he's my workout partner.
Very motivating.
All right, so with that being said, I think it's time that we close this meeting. I
Do we
appreciate
get to meet
everyone.
Abubakar?
What's that?
Do we get to meet Abubakar?
There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry, I missed that
Abubakar.
part.
It's your
Do we get to
opportunity
meet
to
you? Do we
introduce
get to see
yourself.
what you look like? Do you get to tell us
Sure,
why you're
yeah.
interested in being on the committee?
All right, this is
Hello.
what I look like.
Well, welcome. you
Hello,
know.
everyone.
I think that's the first time he showed his face in any of the
Darren,
meetings.
Dan, everybody, greetings to you.
You want to tell these guys a little bit about
Let's
yourself?
see here, I can't hear. All right, there it is.
You want to tell these guys a little bit about yourself and who you represent and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. I represent the taxi drivers in this city, and I am with Flat Cab. So I've been driving close to 15 years now. So, yeah, simple
Awesome.
and easy.
There you go. We need a little bit more taxi representative on the fees and fares subcommittee. So
I'm sure he knows where the airport's at.
yeah.
I think so.
All right. Well, perfect. I appreciate it,
Welcome.
everyone. And hopefully we have a better turnout to the next meeting so we can get some stuff done.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
All
Are
right.
we done?
We're done.
All right, everybody, have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Thank you,
Phil, I hope
Cameron.
things work out for
We're
you.
meeting before then, though, right?
I don't think we have a meeting because it falls like right in Christmas Eve.
22nd.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
The 22nd.
If
I
there's
think
a
we,
meeting on the 22nd, I'm not gonna be at it. I'm going to
Yeah.
Miami for the week.
I think that's going to be a tough one to get anybody to. So I think we just skip that one.
And then would we want to meet between Christmas and New Year's? Probably not.
I think we wait until after the first of the year.
So that's like January something, 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Really, I
then-
think we'd only be missing one meeting. Does that sound right,
Could-
Cameron?
Yes, because after that, the first meeting in January is the 5th.
Can we put something in the, like an action item for Mark that upon receiving whatever comments he has on the survey to immediately forward them to the group so we can at least be aware of it, even though we're not meeting, so we can review their comments and I don't know.
Yeah, we can
discuss among
send
ourselves.
something to them.
Yes, we can add that for sure.
All right, perfect.
Okay,
All right,
thank
everyone,
you.
happy holidays.
You guys
Happy
as well.
holidays.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.